Hi Amanda, it's Mrs. Six. Okay, so I just thought it'd be easier to just send you a video about some of the things that I want to make sure that you're uh, doing for your project. So the first thing, so this is actually your project that I have pulled up. So I'm going to enable edit really quick. Hopefully it pops up. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the first thing is your theory, whatever it is, you need to have that here. So if this is alcoholism, if it's whatever else it might be, that needs to be here, right? So, and it should all be about the same thing. So if this theory is that he was beaten to death or that rabies, whatever it is, all of these notes should be about rabies. This does not need to be here. I'm not sure what this is. I don't know if you wrote a little paragraph about each one. You don't need to do that. Not here. There needs to be nothing here. What I still need to know, you were not allowed to do this. So I told everyone nothing at the moment. You have to ask a question. There's something that you still may need to know. So there has to be a question there that you can come up with that you can ask, or that's something that you still want to know about, right? So, and then whatever your theory here is fine. So that was, if you think that was number 4, whatever the theory was, like I said, it's missing. So the citations for this, and I'm going to kind of show you a sample that another student turned in so you can kind of look at it and see exactly what needs to be done. But that Still Mysterious Death of Edgar Allan Poe, if these are all from that needs to be at the end of each sentence over here. Okay, so that's the in-text citation. So it's at the end of the text. That's basically what in-text citations means. So it's at the end of whatever the quote is or the text that you're doing. So this quote needs to be, if they all came from here, then they all need to be here, 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 and here at the bottom. I would copy and paste and put it in parentheses. So for example, if they all came from that, I would, not parentheses, brackets. So I'm going to copy. So all you would have to do is you're putting it like that behind to show me where that's where you got that specific quote from. So the important thing that you need to remember that I talked to all the students about was that you have to have 2 sources for each theory. So here if everything is coming from this one, the Still Mysterious Death, then that's only one source. So that's going to really kind of not bode well for you when you go to write the actual paper, because you need 2 sources. So I would find at least 2 notes from a different source for each theory. Okay, so I would have 2 sources here with 4 notes, and then the same thing when you go in, right? So that's the first one. And then I think that you were still working on it. So obviously you were missing number 2. So for 3, the same thing. You don't need this paragraph. Whatever the citation is, you're going to put it there, but not the web page. It has to be the author and the page number, or the author or the name of the web page, whatever it is. We don't want this actual web address there, right? The first one that we looked at, that's the Still Mysterious Death. That was the name of the article or the website. Okay, so that's how you're going through all of those, right? So again, for number 4, I just need those quotes, right? I don't need any of this stuff, whatever that is down there. I don't need that. But again, I need your in-text citations at the end of each note that you have, okay? Okay, so for the death report. So I will tell you, I'm looking at this right now. You have too much stuff. So you're picking one theory of how he died. You're not putting all 4 of those theories together. You're only picking one. And when you're picking that one theory, I only need 1 paragraph or 2. That's all I need, right? You're saying, in my report, I will argue first person. Remember, we're not allowed to use first person. You need to use third person. So when we talked in class the other day, you might want to start off saying something like, there are several theories of how Edgar Allan Poe died. One of the most common and probable is whatever your theory is. That would be a great way to start. Then you start pulling whatever quotes you have in your reflection, quote, reflection, wrap it up, just like we did for the any of the other writings we've done in class. Okay, so this is a lot, and you have a lot of things kind of like just pushed together in here, right? So you're talking about that he was because of alcohol abuse, so you have that. So you're giving like this whole like theory or like whole like almost like chronological order of things that have happened. You don't need to do that. This is just a brief report that you're giving. It's not this big long thing, right? So you're saying Poe left Richmond to New York. Before he left for Richmond, he had a few friends that were heading out over to Baltimore. A piece of evidence. So you don't want to say a piece of evidence. That's very informal. You just put the evidence in for the reader to put or to read in there. So you're giving a lot of information as to what kind of like that has happened, where you don't necessarily need to have that jam-packed information. Okay, so I'm looking at the rest of it here really quick too. So then you're talking about cooping over here, and then you have like, I think you might be trying to add both into it, which you don't need really to do. I would pick one or the other, because there's a lot going on where it's really hard to keep up. And remember, it needs to be in that same MLA format, so it needs to be double spaced, it needs to be like that paragraph. You need to have all of that in there. And then when you're using your citations, again, any citation that you use, so like if you have a quote here, whatever quote you're using, you should have your citation at the end of it. So it's not just at the end of paragraphs. It needs to be at the end of the quote. So when you look up here and you look at how you have it, on September 27th, he left Virginia. If you're putting that in there, and then that's part of the quote that you're using, then you would have that citation directly after it. So I'm going to pause for a second, and then I'm also going to pull up an example for you to look at that kind of gets you kind of on the right track. So give me just a second. All right, okay. So this is Haley's, and obviously you're not allowed to use anything that I'm showing you, so you have to make sure that you're not going to copy anything from here. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what it needs to look like. So as you see, she has the theory, the 4 different notes, and each one has a citation, right? The only thing that she did not do that she should have is like, they're all from Gehling. They really should have been 2 from Gehling and 2 from something else. But this wasn't the theory she used, so it worked out for her. The theory she did use, there are 2 sources, so it's fine. So what I want you to look at specifically is her death report and how short it is. So if you look at her death report, 1 paragraph, super short. It does not need to be longer than this. So she said, I personally believe, which is not what we need to have in there, right? It's because it's that first person. So I have already talked to her about that. She resubmitted. But she, oh, I pulled the wrong one. Hold on. I'm going to pause really quick. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't pull the one that she had resubmitted. So she took out the I, right? Because that is not, first person, right? So she has all of her information. She has her in-text citation here. She has her in-text citation here. She's using her 2 different quotes, 2 different sources. You don't have to do this down here. She just had it down there because that's what she originally had as her sources, which when she resubmitted, I had her go back and put them in the actual text, right? So, like I said, you aren't allowed to use this like she's written it. You can, of course, use different quotes. You can write it however you want. But what I want you to see is it's a very brief paragraph, right? You can have more than one, but it needs to be brief and it needs to be written in third person, okay? So you are on the right track. You're just trying to shove a lot of stuff into a space where you really don't need to. So just go back, cut some stuff out, and just focus on one theory. I really wouldn't do both. Because if you're focusing on two, you can, if you can keep it in that short paragraph. But I really feel like you need to just pick one theory and then go with it from there. Okay. So make sure that you are going through and that you are hitting your own theories. It looks like you need to go back and do two. Like I said, you don't really need any of the stuff in the middle right now that you have, but you do need to make sure that you're correctly adding in those citations. So let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and you'll be able to go in and make some corrections too. And remember what I said, you cannot copy any of the student example that I showed you, okay? All right, let me know if you have questions.